Good afternoon, televiewers. A very sad day for the people of the Noon Division, the Bamouns, the people of Fumban, Fumbot, and all the villages that make up the Noon Division. Very sad day for the population of the West region. A very, very sad day for the people of Cameroon and Africa as a whole, following the demise of the Sultan of the Bamouns, His Royal Majesty Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya, one-time minister for sports and youth affairs in Cameroon, one-time president of FECAFOOT, and he was a sitting senator as we speak. He is gone to meet his ancestors. Those of us who are Africans says, long live the king, because kings don't die in Africa. Today we are going to be moving back to Fumban to get the atmosphere of the demise of the person who has led them for decades now. I am going to be doing this with Mr. Christo B, who is in the studio with me this afternoon. Good afternoon, all right.
Good afternoon, Leonard.
Yeah, a very sad day for the people of Bamoun.
Sad indeed. Sad indeed. Yes, now every road today leads to the Bamoun Palace, where everybody is going to, wants to be eyewitness of what really happened and then have beforehand information of anything that happened there today. And like the saying goes, back in the quarters, cry don't enter big compound.
The information actually has been circulated on his bad health shape, where it was rumored that he was supposed to be evacuated, and many persons have been praying to see him go through these very difficult moments, but God knows why.
As you rightly said, God knows why. He died. He died in France, and then you quite remember that 1 week before he was rushed to France. There, people are already. The information was already on social media about his demise, but it was quickly, debunked by those who had the good information, saying that he was taken to the Yaoundé emergency center, and it is only from there that the presidency of the Republic ordered for his immediate evacuation to France.
Okay. Now, a very sad day. What does this signify for the people of the West region, especially those of Noon Division, Bamouns?
For those of the grass field in general and the Bamouns in particular, it is the beginning of a very, very long, a very, very long, sad moment, because they are not going to take it now. Nobody is allowed to, to announce that he has passed away, until it is officially done so by the kingmakers. It is officially done so by the kingmakers, and then it should equally be said that those of the grass field, they have a common tradition when it comes to
reverence.
To reverence. That has to be paid to somebody like the fawn, or he's a fawn, because the Sultan is equally a fawn. People have to observe. There are so many things to be observed there, especially in the Noon Division. There's supposed to be no gunshot, no firing of gunshots in any death ceremony. There's supposed to be no noise within Fumban town itself, and even within the Noon Division. Like any jubilation has to be circumscribed in a particular area. No public noise, no public jubilation, no public outings, and then some categories of women would only have to choose, or have to be given a certain number of days to be able to go to their farms. Be able to go to their farms. There is a panel of many of things that have to be observed or respected in the Noon Division.
So everything that has to happen in the Noon Division will take a solemn form. Accompanied by solemn atmosphere now.
It is going to be like that, and then immediate effect. Sorry. This should not come from me. So with the immediate thing that the palace has to do now is bring together all the notables, all the sub chiefs, all those who matter when it comes to talking about tradition, and then they'll now
the princes.
They'll now sit and then see what has to be done immediately before the procedure goes on. And the only thing that they need to do now, and it has been done already, is the sealing of the palace
Okay.
Yeah,
The palace has been sealed.
Yeah, it has been sealed by the senior divisional officer for the
Okay.
Noon division. That was a few minutes ago. At least the part of the palace occupied by the Sultan has been sealed. But as you know, the palace is just like a small government. Administrative work has to go on.
Okay. Well, let's take a look on how the atmosphere looks like out there at the palace. Okay, very solemn out there at the palace.
We said it a while ago, and that is going to be the situation now. People are going to be streaming in like that, day in, day out. And any Bamoun man or woman who has any acquaintance with anybody in the palace there, or even any of the wives of the Sultan, will definitely have to spend some nights in that part of the palace too.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to do it. They have to bring in everything that they have for the cry die, and a traditional ledger, traditional book is going to be open too for them, because the official one is only done when the official burial is announced. But now people have to go and then pay homage, according to tradition, to their fallen sultan.
Okay, Lasha, quite a difficult one there, given that he's one of the sitting senators who is also quitting the stage.
Yeah, right. Kum Leonard, good morning to you. Good morning to Dr.
You're welcome.
And good morning to the entire Bamoun kingdom. We are with you guys out there. It's a big loss for you out there, and even Cameroon as a whole. Notwithstanding, we know he was amongst one of the pioneer senators since the bicameral legislature was put in place in 2013, completing the decentralization process of Cameroon that, as we all know, the 1996 law or the Constitution of Cameroon, which incarnates the bicameral legislature of the country. Kum Leonard.
Okay, we are once again moving back to the palace out there in Fumban to get some reactions we got already from our correspondents out there. Let's get what they have to say about the passing of the Sultan.
Je disais tantôt, c'est un sentiment de tristesse, de douleur, parce que lorsqu'on a perdu un homme comme son ancien Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya dans le monde, franchement, on ne sait pas ce qu'on peut dire par rapport à ça. Parce que c'est un père, un patriarche qui avait, n'est-ce pas, pour leitmotiv sa population, les Bamouns d'abord, avant toute chose. Donc lorsqu'il part doucement comme ça nous laisse dans un état, je ne sais pas, on est en train de pleurer notre voix, c'est triste.
En tant que patriarche, à quel moment est-ce que l'annonce officielle et traditionnelle devrait se faire?
Oui, dans la tradition Bamoun, quand le roi meurt, et surtout on dit pas que le roi est mort, mais on dit que le roi a fait un décret. Alors il y a le président de Kum. Les Kum, c'est notable, c'est grand notable qui intronisent le roi. Donc on attend que Jimon Charles, Mancom annonce le deuil de Sa Majesté, du roi, pour que les festivités commencent sur le plan traditionnel.
Nous sommes très touchés par cette terrible nouvelle. C'est le peuple Bamoun entier qui est en deuil. C'est une situation, une nouvelle tellement triste pour nous, surtout que depuis que notre Père, Sa Majesté, a eu un malaise, on nous a informé que ça allait déjà très bien, qu'il était simplement en train de se reposer. Nous, on ne pensait pas que ça allait être comme ça. Mais bon, tout ce que Dieu fait est bon. On lui dit merci.
Sentiment de tristesse, parce que le peuple Bamoun vient d'être frappé par, je dirais plutôt, une massacre. Des monuments. On a perdu un Baouba. Seul Dieu pourra vraiment essuyer nos larmes. Nous sommes abattus.
The reaction from the people of Bamoun, amongst them is the president of the Bamoun community in France, who happens to be in Fumban, and we're lucky to have him on camera there to say that they were not ready for this. They are taken aback.
They are truly taken aback. And then you can equally read it on their faces. None of them was expecting this. This is not the first time that he was taken to France for, evacuated to France for medical attention.
Yeah.
So, and then more often than not, or for cases even more serious than this, he comes back. So nobody was expecting this.
The call now is who takes over? What happens?
That's the question many people are asking. I read from different fora talking about the person that actually has to take over. I read somewhere that the son to the Sultan must be the prince that he had while he was already enthroned as the Sultan of Bamoun, because there was already some argument about Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya leaving Feka food to come down and take over the palace.
Lasha, you see, there's this, that's why I was talking about the fact that all the grass field has at least a common tradition when it comes to that side of it. You know, any child he got before he could be made Sultan is not a child of the palace. People should understand this. When the Sultan himself was taking over from his father, the son, Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya, and the mother, that's the wife with whom he bore that son, Mbombo Njoya, they were asked to stay at his private residence, which is at the entrance, the main entrance to Fumban. We get into the main entrance to Fumban, that symbolic entrance into Fumban. There's a big house on your left. That is his private house. And that's where they stop. They can go to the palace for anything official. They can go to the palace. Sorry, we are in contact with Kumba for some other information. That's why from time to time we might not. So I mean, they can go to the palace for like every other visitor or for any other thing. But when it comes to talk about tradition, he has to. If he did not do so, then the kingmakers would have to choose a son amongst those he bore while already in the palace as Sultan. And that's why you heard the notable, they're talking about the fact that it is the president of the Kum. These are the 9 kingmakers.
Yes.
And that president of him happens to be, that president of the Kum happens to be Jimon Sharo. Why? Because it is believed that the power or everything about the Bamoun, the history of the Bamoun, the power of the Bamoun came in from Njimom. And he is the person in the palace that who represents Njimom. That's why he is the one who enthrones the Sultan, and he is the one to declare or to announce the passing onto glory of the Sultan. Since we've been asked not to say the Sultan's died, so he's not dead. So.
Okay. We are moving out to we are staying in our studios, but we are taking another report from Quinta Fon to give us to paint a picture of who the departed should we say departed or
the missing Sultan?
Yeah.
the disappeared Sultan? Yes,
disappeared
Sultan. Yeah.
Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya was born in 1937 in Fumban. After primary studies in his hometown, he pursued secondary studies in France. However, he returned home to finish his secondary studies at the Lycée Général Leclerc in Yaoundé. From 1958 to 1960, he worked in the office of the High Commissioner of France to Cameroon. He was then Chief of Staff of the Secretary of State for the Presidency in charge of information, Head of Cabinet of the Minister of Armed Forces, and then Director of Cabinet of Minister of Armed Forces. In 1962, he was appointed Commissioner General for Youth, Sports and Popular Education. On May 25, 1965, he became Deputy Minister of Education, Youth and Culture. He held this position for 5 years before being appointed Ambassador of Cameroon to Equatorial Guinea on July 31, 1970. From 1974 to 1981, he was Ambassador of Cameroon to Egypt. On September 4, 1981, Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya rejoined government as Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. On January 7, 1982, he was appointed Minister of Youth and Sports. Then from November 21, 1986 to May 16, 1988, he was Minister of Information and Culture. From 16 May 1988 to 7th of September 1990, he was Minister of Territorial Administration. Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya, who became Minister of Youth and Sports on September 7, 1990, and subsequently assumed the functions of Minister Delegate to the Presidency in charge of relations with the assemblies from 9th April 1992. Since August 10, 1992, he has been Sultan of Bamouns. Since August 10, 1992, he has been Sultan of Bamouns, a member of the Central Committee and the Political Bureau of UNC since May 1984, and he has also held the same position in the CPDM political party. Sultan Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya died today, September 27, 2021, in Paris, France.
Thank you, Interphone, for that report. We actually are joining the Bamouns community to share in their grief, hoping that Ibrahim, His Royal Majesty Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya, also goes to tell the ancestors very good things about those of us who are still living, but also enjoying them. That
Yes.
the times Cameroonians are in actually very difficult times, and that whatever they could do, we are Africans now.
He leaves a very big legacy.
He's taking a message. Yeah,
he is, and then he leaves behind a very big legacy. You know, you remember the ultra modern museum.
Yeah.
It's thanks to him. The
Two-head snakes.
the palace hospital. The communal radio, the traditional communal radio, equally thanks to him. It's true that we had the second radio put in place by his late uncle or cousin, Dr. Bamouns Njoya,
the former mayor.
Yeah, it should equally be noted that before being president of Feka Food, he was a seasoned boxer.
Okay.
He was a seasoned boxer. While while in school in France, there where he was sharing his room with the former mayor Bamouns Njoya. He was into boxing, and it should equally be said that even while he came here, he equally engaged in cycling too, and that apart from his son Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya, who is president of the interim president of the Cameroon Football Federation, you equally have somebody like Ahmed Mbombo Njoya. That's the junior brother to
Zachary.
Ahmed Mbombo Njoya, who is the national basketball female team coach. You see, this is a family that's right into sports. There, you equally, I mean, you have Zachariah too, who
was the minister delegate at the transport.
Yes, but Zachary Njoya and Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya is more of the African family issue.
The royal family?
Yeah, no, he's not part of the royal family. But it's just that but we could say royal family because Zachary's mother equally had something to do with the palace.
Okay.
He has something to do with the palace. Yeah, but coming to talk about them being too close with
it's
the
okay.
family.
That's not the case. Now, can we also get a political perspective of who?
Mr. Kum Leonard, as we all know, to have served with the Ahijo government and still serving with the Bias government, it means that he was somebody that had value, as many Cameroonians have been saying. As we all know, he was a member of the Central Committee of the Political Bureau of CNU, a party founded by the first president of the Republic of Cameroon, Amadou Ahijo, and that was in 1966. The party was founded in 1966 by Amadou Ahijo, and then he became a member of the Political Bureau in 1984. That was not all, Leonard. He was equally a member of the Central Committee of the ruling CPDM since its creation in 1985, and he was equally head of the permanent delegation of CPDM Central Committee for the West region of Cameroon. And since the coming into play of the bicameral legislature in Cameroon, Mbombo Njoya, or Sultan Mbombo Njoya, was equally amongst the pioneer senators in Cameroon. Since 2013, he's been senator at the upper house of parliament of the country. It's so sad that we are losing him at this crucial moment, and we all know the Fumban conference, what transpired in Fumban, and what the Bamouns community has to play when it comes to politics in the country. Well, we hope, like you did say, you go and tell the ancestors about what is happening back in Cameroon. Maybe, who knows, something may come out of that.
But there's something happening in Fumban. If you look at the political landscape in Fumban, there has been this gameplay between the fallen Bamouns Njoya and now His Royal Majesty Sultan Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya. It has been a clash of titans for decades.
Yeah, it has been so. That's why I was making mention of the fact that the two of them were living in the same room. They were sharing the same room as students in France, but they would never agree, and that's where the disagreement began. And the thing equally met with the fact that the side of Bamouns Njoya believes that since their grandfather back there at their grandfather Badanjinka was like the person who brought in the palace to that particular place, he has to be Mambamfon. That's what they say, which means the uncle, the Fon's uncle, and should be given due respect. But little did they understand, the people understand that you might be the Fon's uncle, but you too have to pay respect to the Fon, because the Fon is person officially seen, was portrayed by heaven. And you quite remember that it had never been easy for the two of them to cohabitate that in
Fumban. I quite remember, I think 2 or 3 years ago, when we went for the Ngwon festival, we had to do an investigation. We went to the residence of Bamouns Njoya. We asked the children why, those children who were there, why their father was not at the Ngwon festival. They tried to explain some certain things, but they said, however, their father had not refused that they should not go to the palace. They have the free will to go to the palace, and other children from the palace, they can come to their father's residence without any problem. But they have been living like that for many years without any issue. We always have that issue, that problem.
But from the political perspective, I don't. That is their family.
Yes.
From the
UDC CPDM, it's been all out.
UDC is dominating, has always dominated.
Yes, but it's not
Fumban.
been easy. If you get the videos we had from the last elections, it's been a clash of titans between these two persons. Are we going to miss that? Because the UDC,
no, we are not going to miss that, because the current mayor of Fumban is still there, and same thing is still happening.
I'm talking about these personalities. Dr. Adamu Njoya was charismatic,
and Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya was equally charismatic.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, of late, you know about what happened between Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya and Mrs. Njoya.
Yeah.
Mrs. Njoya. So it was like, the battle continued. But now, you rightly put it. The question is this: is it going
the
to
same ideology continues?
I'm going to face it. But when it comes to the two parties there in the Nun division, there is some sort of a culture. A sense of a culture to the Bamouns people. They believe that what their brother leads and he created and is leading is, to them, supposed to be the gospel truth. They might be wrong in their beliefs.
But when it comes to traditional issues, they give respect to the Sultan.
They give respect to the Sultan.
Full respect to the Sultan.
Full respect.
But political issues, we saw that with Zakaria, with Njoya. It didn't work out during elections, and you all know.
But what's the political future in this? I'm talking about these two personalities.
Yes.
Is it going to be same?
It is not going to be same again.
It all depends now, probably, on who is taking over from late or the missing Sultan. Whether he comes in to implement the will of the father by continuing with the same plan that the father had.
He can as well decide to be
change and
become
apolitical.
He can decide to be political
in a different prism, probably so.
Because we had two Njoyas, Dr. Adamu Njoya, Sultan Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya. So it was something else.
Something else completely.
Okay, let's get the atmosphere out there in at the palace of the Bamouns. Okay, that is the atmosphere. I'm sure many more persons are going to be trickling into Fumban to say that Fumbot and yes, we have Fumbot, we have
Kutaba, you have Masangam,
yes,
you have Malantuan, you have Fumban itself, and you have Njimam. But it stretches up to Magba.
Okay.
Yeah, it stretches up to Magba, even though Magba is already in the Adamawa division, but 3/4 of those who live there, and even in Bankim, they have. And then let us not forget that the Bamouns equally descended from the Tika, they are descendants from the Tika, and that the same tradition, the same everything, they are cousins with those around Bankim and up to Banyo. So, and then all their traditions are either done in Jimam or they're in Bankim. So at any moment they should be expecting people or expecting a delegation from Bankim, from Magba, and even from up to Banyo. Yes.
And their sisters, yes. Sisters from
from Bangante, from Bafia. So Bangante, Bafia, and the Bali. Balinyonga this time around. Balinyonga, Banso, Bafia, part of Bafang, and then Bangante too. You can remember there was this issue about the late chief of the Bangante, people who used to call Njimolu. You see, there was that issue in Njimolu said Njupokam. So you see, it is because of the fact that these are all cousins, historical cousins.
Okay. Now the key focus is going to be on who takes over. Yes, people would want to know who would have that potential to replicate what the fallen Sultan has been able to achieve this far.
You see, whosoever comes to the throne has his own view, has his own way of taking things. He was not, in short, his first 5 years, people thought he was not as charismatic as his father used to be. But with time now, he came up to, so whatever being the case, since we know that it is already clear that whosoever takes over from him is going to be one of the children he had while already in the palace. So maybe the young man might be schooled or be coached now to be able to come up and do that, but it doesn't change the fact that he has his own character and might have his own way of seeing things and his own way of doing things.
Yeah, just to note that as Sultan, you have a very strong political setup traditionally that actually assists in running the dynasty.
Yes, and do you know, before he's the one who even brought the certain sort of modernization at the palace there before, because before him, in any official ceremony like the 20 or 11 February, the senior divisional officer will come and wait for him, for the Sultan. The Sultan always used to be the last person to come to any ceremonial ground when there's even an unofficial thing, until he now came over, and then while he was Minister of Territorial Administration, he reminded his father that any traditional ruler is just
auxiliary
to the administration, and so the administration should do well. And then you quite remember too that there was equally this heartfelt love for the palace or the institution as per se by the Cameroon's first president Amadou Ahidjo, who used to spend 3/4 of his time there, and even Paul Biya, who took over. When he took over, he was not only a personal friend and classmate or schoolmate or political mate in France with Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya, but the two had served in the same government, and the departed Sultan now equally served under Paul Biya's regime up to 1992.
Okay. I don't know whether we have the elements that just came in from they are ready. Can we take a listen to them? Okay, they are not ready. We are talking about the traditional setup out there, very rich. The people in Fumban are actually so attached to their tradition. Can we also see this as an achievement for him? Because those times have evolved. But if you were to attend any of the Ngwon festivals, you will see a people that are so immersed in love with the culture.
Yes. Why? Because he had that mind. He used to move. He went closer to his people. Okay. He went closer to his people. Time without number, he came to Douala to meet his people, and then he decentralized. He sort of decentralized the organization of the Ngwon. That before him used to just be an affair of the palace. So he sort of decentralized the organization of the Ngwon to the point that Douala had a say. Douala had a say, and then Douala had a very Douala, not to talk about the littoral region, had a very powerful stand in the organization of the Ngwon. You can remember Fadimatu Pumier, who has always been championing the cause of this organization of the Ngwon. So the Sultan Mbombo Njoya used to move. He used to go towards the people. He moved to Yaoundé. He brings everybody together and to talk about the Ngwon. He even went as far as going out of Cameroon to be organized. He did so, and he rapidly brought the common Bamoun man to discard the previous belief they had about him, and he became that father. He became that father.
Yes? This takes me back. I remember something when we were at the Ngwan festival.
Yes.
You know, during the Ngwan festival, the Sultan at that time is no longer the ruler.
He's not.
The Bamoun people. He has to be judged.
Yes.
If the Bamoun people found or maybe finds him wanting, he will no longer be. The Sultan at that time, he steps down.
Yes.
He is judged by the kingmakers and the notables of the village.
Yes, he is.
There is a judicial council.
A judicial council. Then they put him. He goes through the process, and then they pass their judgment before he becomes now the new king. So it is like he takes over after every 2 years.
That is what makes that's the peculiarity of this.
And there is nothing fake about it. It is done in the open. Everybody sees it. He's judged.
Before then, he has some sort of traditional lawyers. The case first goes to those who have to judge him, and then his lawyers go and defend. Why did you do this? He says the open part, what people see. The public part of it is what we see. What we see after all is being done. And there's even a saying that if at all is found guilty, that open part of it will never happen even. So, so to the Bamoun man, that's why they celebrate on that one day, because that's the day when they see him appear, they say, he has been maintained. Has been maintained. You understand? He will never appear if he's found guilty and dropped as Sultan. It is true it has never happened up to now, but nothing should surprise us if it comes to that.
The other way round, there has always been this issue of our traditional rulers playing into politics. Did he succeed to do a great blend between the manner with which he handled the Bamouns people and then also played politics, because he's dying as Sultan, but also as a sitting senator?
I think as Sultan, I believe he succeeded in bringing the people together. But as a politician, I would say no, because it will not be far-fetched. It is, everybody sees what is happening in Fumban, and you quite remember when he came back as when he took over as Sultan. When he took over as Sultan, there was always this problem between him and the council, because as he took over, the council was not yet CDU. Not the CDU, but the council became CDU after, and there was this problem now. That's what even prompted late Dr. Adamunda Njoya to drop his, the position at the National Assembly, not to go in again for the National Assembly, but to insist on being the mayor, because to him, it's as if the only person who could bring order in Fumban
was he.
Because everybody,
but it's no longer there.
I was trying to say that the Sultan succeeded because if you look at the respect that he commands, he commanded when in the Bamoun land, you understand that though he was into politics, but the kind of politics he was playing was a kind of very, an intelligent politics, a politics that will not, drag his reputation into the mud, meaning that he really, draw the line. He drew the line between the ruling as a traditional ruler and being a CPDM, militant.
Okay,
and,
we quite.
But Leonard, I beg to differ with him, because that only came of late. It came of late because in the beginning it was like either you vote.
No, but we've never had complaints from the Bamouns or the
Bamouns
people maybe complaining that the fund is trying to suppress us.
They will never complain to you.
Trying to suppress us or trying to impose on us. That's the reason why we had
only the ballot box now spoke, because at that time there are many of them who even say yes. Larenike.
That's what I'm saying, that he succeeded in imposing his traditional authority over the people.
In doing so, and then at the end of the day, the result is not in your favor. What do you do? You have not succeeded.
Let's get over to Kumba, where we are getting information that there is an issue with the reorganization of CPDM reorganization. That is going to be the focus for Prime this evening, but we are getting information that Kumba is hot. Things are not too well between those who are vying for the position of section president for Meme. Tamfu Sidwan, can we understand better what is happening out there in Kumba?
Well,
and he told me talk so all we majority of we were there na youth. I be youth.
Yes. Okay.
Before I day for this place where I day, it never day easy when I know. I don't set example. Any of you here can be mayor of this man in name for here. I never call no man in name. I never call no man in name. Make the thing go the way it's supposed to go, according to the rules of the game.
Confirm.
So which way I want move?
Bravo to the participants, the candidates who had their position.
Oh, I beg. Because it don't just be like say it don't be a tribalism. Because man don't tire. If you not belong to a tribe, they no go put you for CPD and list. So may they live before alone, may they live before alone. It don't too much. It don't too much.
Transparency. We all stand for the CPDM party. We all stand for the Meme 1A.
We need
support subjective.
Okay.
Very disturbing there from Kumba. We hope to get to be able to get to the city mayor if it's possible before Prime Eye, because Prime Eye is going to focus on the CPDM reorganization. Actually marred by so much conflict from the videos we have had. In Bangante, it was not easy. In the south, it's not been easy, and almost everywhere.
In Bere too in the north.
Same
yes, but if you permit me, Leonard, I had the opportunity to talk to the city mayor at about a few minutes to 12 when we were preparing for this Condé news, and the city mayor told me that I even had his invitation that interview that Sidwan covered. He was campaigning. He was campaigning in Kumba yesterday when he got information that a certain when he got information that a certain list or a certain result has been made public, but he says Benjamin Etoy, who is supposed to lead the CPDM Central Committee at that level of Meme, decided that elections should hold tomorrow, Tuesday, the 28th. So he doesn't understand why 48 hours before the holding of the elections proper, a certain list has already been proclaimed, and that's the list of Honorable Njala, who was unfortunately not reachable by phone, and then we equally understood, or we equally got from them out there that the head of mission sent by the Central Committee to come and reorganize these elections out there. His phone is not going through since Saturday. I equally spoke to Mayor Eseme, who is the mayor for Kumba 1 out there. He told us that there was a certain irregularity with the lists brought in by the city mayor Mewanu Greg, because he had some issues with the justice, and that the third list was equally disqualified. The list that was brought in by Prince Ekale Mukete was equally disqualified because the list came in late. So put it all together, the only list that could be validated was that. Does that stop election from or like the Santa Mafia? So we can talk about Kumba Mafia too.
We saw it with the election of city mayor, where they had to cancel and they redid the elections. They came back again.
Okay.
Kumba is always having such.
Let's move back to Fumban, which is our focus. But by 7 p.m. this evening, we are going to be focusing on the reorganization process across Cameroon. It's not been easy, and many persons are asking what they are fighting for.
Positioning.
Okay, let's get back to Fumban to understand what's the latest out there from Fumban.
C'est votre présentateur, M. Picassa. Vous êtes en direct ici au palais de roi Bamouns. Effectivement, le sultan sénateur Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya n'est plus. Et vous verrez avec moi qu'à la suite de la nouvelle, chaque Bamouns se précipite pour venir à la source. Question de se rassurer, effectivement, si c'est le cas, effectivement, si le sultan n'est plus. Vous allez voir la foule qui se multiplie au fur et à mesure. Et nous allons vous revenir dans de prochaines vidéos. Merci beaucoup.
Person who is going to be as charismatic, a leader who is going to be as charismatic as the fallen Baobab, and that the culture that he has preserved, the political life that he has animated, and everything continues so that the dynasty keeps growing from strength to strength. We are going to be quitting the stage for news a la kind that is coming up in under 15 minutes time. We want to say thank you to you, Chris, for coming.
Thank you very much, Leonard. Thank you for having me here. But let's not forget that before his death or before his disappearance, he had already been using certain words that would not arrange the government in place.
Yes. I was going to come to that, but I'm sure we're going to have another edition to look at that. Yes. Thank you, Lasha.
Thank you to Kum Leonard. Our only cry and prayers is that the person that has to take over from the Sultan should see in his vision.
Okay, we want to thank you all for watching this special edition. Stay blessed. Bye bye.